that's like the clearest sign of like if you like because we're literally indoors. Like, why do I have a hat on? I've had Scully's on, I've had fitted hats on. It's like, yeah, it's time.
Like, mind your business.
Yeah, yeah. You here for what I have to say, not what I look like.
Period.
Unless, someone who is inquiring, but that's a
Okay.
conversation for another
Get
day.
on the line. Get them on the line. Get them on the line.
I have the preference. I'm not working right now. So
And a wear king. I love that. I know that's right. I
listen,
know
man.
that's right. Some of them be like,
That was
"That's
like
perfect." Some of them be like, "Yeah, I'm not working. Let me find my next victim."
this is true. I'm not that type. That is definitely not my type. Because I definitely ended a situation prior to quitting. And I
Yeah.
remember like one of my few therapy sessions before my medical insurance was
Oh, yeah.
canceled was like, yeah, I'm taking a break because ain't no way I'm gonna be trying to speak to any grown ass woman like, oh, so what do you do about that?
I'm in between. In between.
I'm
Right.
in between jobs, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, So yeah, yeah. But we're not here for that. We are here for another episode of Where's the Remote? I am your host, Steven, and I'm joined here by my lovely co-host, the amazing
And he
Regine.
actually need that.
See, I gave
They
you the
actually
I gave you the air horns. I gave you the air horns.
yes.
Something just told me to do it. I don't know why. I think maybe I was going back and looking at old clips for some reason. And
Uh-huh.
then I remember one of the episodes you did the air horns on
Oh.
your own. And I was just dying laughing. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I can do it this time.
Yes, I needed that. I needed the real
Listen,
one. Will I give
listen,
myself, my own? I sure would, but the real thing,
listen, man. This is a
yeah.
legit production. Legit production. Attire aside, this is a legit production, people. But shout out to everybody that's been tuning in. Shout out to our couch potatoes. This is what we call our fans that are loyal supporters of the show. Each week, myself and Regine go through our favorite TV shows in various genres, whether it's drama, thriller, mysteries, a little bit of sci-fi from time to time.
Mhm.
Yeah, so if you are watching this, you know what you have to do. Like, comment, subscribe. You gotta have, the notification bell and
Yes.
all that fancy schmancy stuff and the post-production work. But we are here to recap some current shows that are airing right now. We're covering Hijack, we're covering The Pit, and we are also covering A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And stay in tune because we're about to hit February because it's Aquarius season. So you already know the vibes. I should have did it there too. But we'll also be covering Cross, which is coming, I believe, the second week of February, and then Paradise Season 2, which is
Oh,
also
yeah.
coming back,
So
I
excited
believe,
for
towards
that.
the end of February. You got The
Yeah.
Boys coming up. You got Invincible. You got Daredevil. There's so many things for us to watch.
So much TV. So much
But
TV.
before we jump into these recaps, hopefully I remember. Well, two things I want to bring up. Thankfully, I
Okay.
remember. One, I saw this clip from this actress. Don't know her name. Probably seen her on a few things or whatever. But
Mhm.
she was on the red carpet for something. I'm sure she's probably doing promo for a show that she's in or movie. And she was talking about sex scenes.
Mm.
And I think I brought this up on the show before,
Uh-huh.
specifically for Paradise, because Paradise has a
Oh,
very
yeah.
specific sex scene that I felt like was a bit unnecessary.
Yeah.
Not in terms of like, being homophobic or whatever. Like, I understand ladies and their appeal when it comes to Sterling K. Brown. I'm here for it. But I'm all about storytelling. And it was like, okay, you could do the sex scene, but then it was like a 5 to 7 minute scene. I'm like, this is not moving the story forward in any capacity. Like, you just want to show off his back and his ass cheeks.
Yeah.
More power to y'all. But she was making a comment on sex scenes because I think they recently did a study and
Mhm.
Gen Z does not like sex scenes. Like, they do not care for it in any sort of capacity.
It makes you
And I
uncomfortable.
think,
Makes me uncomfortable.
yes. And I think because, coming out of, I feel like HBO basically set the standard for sex scenes of like, you're going to see nudity, you're going to see sex scenes. But I also felt like for a majority of their shows, the sex scenes were necessary to show like whether their character was cheating on their spouse or cheating on whoever, or to see how vile of an individual they were. Game of Thrones is well known for their sex scenes and things of that nature. But I do feel like it's reached a point now where we doing sex scenes for the sake of sex scenes.
Everybody Power is really good for doing that. Like, they'll throw a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in one episode. Like,
Yeah.
bro, listen, I do it. I don't want this little soft porn. Like, okay, it's kinda classless. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's like it comes off more so as like you're doing it for shock value versus is
Mhm.
this really necessary? Because I'm trying to think. We had we watched True Detective season 1. There were a few sex scenes in there, but I feel like all the
They were
sex
very,
scenes
like, very small, very quick,
and I
like
also feel like the sex scenes were vital to the actual story that was being told versus we're just doing this for shock value.
yeah,
Or the general public finds this actor or actress attractive. Like it'd be crazy to actually see them fully frontal nude or
yeah,
whatever the case may be. So that was just interesting because
yeah,
I always felt like I was kind of like an outlier of like, I don't really care for them. Or like you can insinuate stuff without showing full-fledged sex scenes. And
mm,
then we're now even getting more like behind the scenes stuff from actors and they're talking about like you need to have like an intimacy coordinator while you're there. Like it's
yeah.
probably one of the more uncomfortable things when you're doing a TV show or movie because you have this whole stranger.
It's so many people
Your
there trying to
coworker is on top of you. Like it's wild. And then if you know some of like the intricate details, in some instances they do like body doubles. So you may see a person's face on somebody else's body, but you do have some people where it's like, no, it's the actual actor. And like you as a man have to like put this little patch over your
yeah,
penis and like it's a very weird sort of dynamic. You have a lot of women as well who don't necessarily want to do nudity because of, full frontal nudity because it's like they are in relationships or whatever the case may be, or on top of just already being sexualized as a public figure. So I just found that interesting because it was a thought I had, and then like now I'm starting to see it circulate in Hollywood, which is kind of
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, no, I agree.
And so, see, that's
I
why
I literally hate sex. I feel like sex is such a first off, sorry, this is like a hot take. Sex is so animalistic.
it is. It
I
definitely is.
don't need to see that on my screen. Also, sex is such an intimate thing. We're already such an over sexualized society. So to put this in my favorite entertainment so much, it's like, okay, y'all, do we need to be fucking more or something? I don't know. Let me know. Let me know
I
right now.
mean, studies have shown that younger generations aren't having sex as much as previous generations, but that's a whole nother conversation. That's for the psychology podcast that will drop
Okay.
at some point.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the other point I want to make, I think a few weeks ago, I stated, I don't know what Netflix is going to do now that Stranger Things
Mhm.
is over and so much of their like prestige TV has now ended. And it's interesting how I don't know if this happened before I said that or a little bit right after Netflix made that announcement of like purchasing all these little podcasts. Well, not little, but all these podcast brands. And like I literally saw a clip today on TikTok where somebody was discussing like Netflix is basically possibly looking at these podcasts as like little TV shows of like
Mm,
it's low overhead. You already have people who are maybe loyal fan bases to this.
smart.
Podcast was primarily a very thing when it
Yeah.
first came out,
When it first
especially in the
launched.
urban space.
Yeah.
Now, a majority of people watch podcasts. I personally watch podcasts. I
And people love
never
to watch
listen.
them.
So it's just interesting how I made that statement and then that news came out. And
Say,
it's
"Hey,
like, interesting. Just very
hit us up,
interesting.
Netflix. We would love a deal. We would love to
Oh,
talk about your WPS limited series."
I don't know. They haven't been great with black people over there. So I don't know. I don't know.
We don't wanna be your token, but if it have to be for a great price. You might not like what we
Listen,
talk about, but hey.
I am not employed right now. My price is not gonna be that high. My price is not I'm
No,
a cheap
don't
hoe.
lowball yourself
I'm I'm
tonight.
a I'm a cheap hoe. Listen,
Okay.
if I
Speak
get
for
to do what I love,
yourself. I'm
if I
not.
if I get to do what I love, I'm very, very reasonable. Very reasonable.
I gotta
But
get this watch, okay? No. I need a
listen, I
Rollie.
respect presidential,
The big one.
big
I need
face
you to go
Rolly.
like this, like, yeah, I got
Next
money type.
next episode, we see you doing the money spread on
Yes,
your
that's me, yes, so you know there will be signs, there will be signs, exactly.
Uh,
Yeah,
I think my sign, I don't know if you ever seen it. They have in like people who normally like build their own house. You
uh-huh.
could get like instead of an actual stove top, you could get like one of those kitchen islands where the
Mhm, and
stove is
then
actually
uh-huh,
built in,
uh-huh.
so it's literally underneath the marble.
Yeah,
That would be my sign.
yeah, okay.
That would be
I
the
love
sign.
that. I
Yeah,
love that.
that would
I
be the
love
sign.
that. I love that.
But let's jump into these recaps and analysis. We'll start off with Hijack. Before I even start off, well,
Yes.
actually, no.
Go
Let's do the recap. Let's do the recap.
Okay.
In the second episode of season 2, titled Control, the tension escalates as the German authorities discover the hijacked U-5 train has disappeared into a maintenance tunnel and respond by blocking its path with a stalled locomotive. Sam Nelson, who has shockingly taken the role of the hijacker this time, negotiates with the dispatcher Clara Berger and police chief Ada Winter, demanding that they locate John Bailey Brown, the season 1 antagonist, in exchange for the lives of the 200 passengers. As the passengers grow restless, Sam is forced to improvise when a curious cyclist named Freddie discovers the truth. Sam ties him up, straps a briefcase to him, and sends him onto the station platform as a human lure to force the police to clear the tracks. While British officer Olivia Thatcher finally identifies Sam to the investigators, in the final moments, Sam gives the authorities a 45-second countdown to move the stalled train. As the timer hits 0, the camera feed in the control room suddenly cuts to static, and the episode ends with the command center in a state of shock, leaving it ambiguous whether an explosion actually occurred. What were your initial thoughts, my friend?
I was very bored this episode, I'm not gonna lie.
That was the question I was gonna ask you, because literally my first note was like, "Yo, this shit is kind of dry."
Like, what's really going on? It was kinda like a filler episode, and it was like a filler, but there's so much going on, but not a lot going on. It's cut to scene to scene to scene to scene. It's just like, but nothing has happened. I literally watched the episode twice. The first time I watched it, I was like, "Okay," and then the second time I watched it, I was like, "Okay." Like, literally, like, nothing changed. Like, I don't have many notes. I literally was like, "Okay."
Going into this episode, or not even going into the episode, after the episode or while watching it, I started
Yeah.
to think about season 1. And like
Mhm.
season 1, obviously he has no idea about the situation. So for the entire season to basically be set on the airplane was kind of like, okay, this is thrilling. I need to like really figure out what's going on. Or is he going to
Right.
figure this out? Like who's gonna die? What's gonna
Yeah.
happen? Started kind of being the same thing of like now we're stuck on a train. I feel like it's a bit ambitious because
Mhm.
it's like I'm not really caring about these passengers. Like obviously our focus is on Sam and he's not
Mhm.
really doing that much. Like nobody else is really doing anything. Like they keep coming to the teenagers, hate them, despise them, sick of them. They keep cutting to the one teenager who clearly is scared of trains.
Yeah.
I guess. And then obviously you have Freddy, you have Otto, and it's like none of these other characters are compelling in any capacity. You have the command center and they're going through the typical negotiation tactics sort of thing, but it's kind of like if you've seen one negotiation movie, you've seen them all. So it's like there's really nothing that's compelling at all in the second episode. And it's like, I don't know how well this is going to like land for me if we're going to be on this train for all 8 episodes. Like I am getting bored. And I'm not even the type of like, "Oh, yeah, I need action all the time or whatever." It's like there's no other storylines that's like really compelling. I think it would have been better if we actually saw this John Bailey Brown person from his perspective and what he's doing. Like you focusing on this train, Sam Wilson is like kind of doing stuff, but then kind of not really. And then everybody else is kind of just like there. It's like there's nothing for me to be invested in, and it's just dry. Like it's just dry. Like I don't know. Like I don't really have that many notes from it.
Well, I
Like,
say I have, like, 3 points. Like, I literally was like, I have nothing to say about this
and
episode.
that's why I started this one first because it's like
Nothing.
out of everything we
When
watched,
you
this
said
was
that, I said, "Oh, this is perfect." Like, this is perfect. This is perfect to start off with because it's literally nothing. Like, they talked about John Bailey Brown so much, and I'm like, "Okay, when is John Bailey Brown gonna pop up? Like, do I remember him from last season? I don't. He's a fugitive. I thought he was a police officer. What are you talking about? I'm confused." Yeah, I like, I literally don't know. Like, everything was just but the only thing I will say about this whole entire episode by the time I got to the end twice by the time I got to the end twice, the episode being titled Control kinda showed I would say this is the positive about it. It kinda showed where this storyline possibly is going, because right now we're seeing a whole bunch of nothing, but we're ping-ponging between Sam, the police, and the people that's actually, ahead of the train, and then we're
Mhm.
ping-ponging who is this person that's blackmailing Sam or whoever is controlling Sam to make him even do this after being in a hijack last year or whatever whenever it was. So, like, who actually has the control over what's really going on? I think that's the only thing that I got from this episode. Other than that, nothing.
Fair, but I will say, typically in these sorts of like we're using people as pawns sort of trope, you usually see the antagonist actually speak to said person and like, hey,
But
you
we're
need to
not
do
seeing that.
this. Yes, exactly. So it's like there's nothing compelling. So it's like,
Literally, like, I'm waiting to just drop something. I swear last season was so, like, every episode, it was like, at the end, at least we got something. Like, okay, at the end, we got a fake bomb. Like, we all know it's
mhm,
not a freaking bomb. Like, it's obvious it's not a real bomb. Like, it's obvious it's not. So, the fact that y'all trying to drop it like it's a bomb, y'all, we like, we can tell it's not. So, I don't understand. I don't
exactly.
understand what's going on. So, yeah.
Um, yeah, let's run through this pretty quick. Let's run through this because we got better shit to discuss. It's clearly that Otto is not built for this at all because
No.
he is panicking like a motherfucker. Even the simplest command, like, "Hey, go do this. Don't talk to anybody. Come back into the conductor booth." That boy is
He can't even do
fumbling.
that.
He's
Can't even do
shitting on.
that.
He's shitting on himself.
Literally.
Also, there was that one scene where you have the cleaning ladies in the hotel and she's like vacuuming, but then there was no way in hell you are vacuuming and you hear a cell phone vibrate, not go off, vibrate inside a closed drawer. Stop it. Stop it. They keep showing this one train station lady. I don't know
Mhm.
if she is another pawn. Also, it didn't make sense when she finally approaches Freddie with the briefcase. She doesn't
'Cause remember
move. 'Cause
fir
they said it was a bomb, and she's just like,
not
"What are you
even
doing?"
that, not even that. She was at the other train station. How she get
Yes.
all the way down here?
Right. And then out of all the people, they called her to tell her to go to the other train station. Had it been John Bailey Brown calling whoever's at the command center, "Hey, tell X, Y, and Z to go over here." It's like, "Oh, okay." He's really like control, like you said, like he's really moving these pawn pieces on his
Yeah.
chessboard to do whatever. But we don't see that. So it's kind of like, yeah, there's clearly no fucking bomb in the suitcase. It's obvious he did some shit in the control room in the station for everything to go off at the same time to make people think that it was a bomb to take him seriously. Cheap cliffhanger, very dumb. I don't remember when this happens, but there's a part in the episode where obviously because you and me, we watch it with subtitles. There's some part in the episode where somebody says hello, but it says in German, but the person said hello. It wasn't actually in German. I thought that
Yeah.
was like funny.
Well, actually took German in high school. I actually took 2 years of German in high school. And do you know that German is the second it's like a cousin to English. Like, German, like, it doesn't sound like it's very similar to English, but a lot of
Hmm.
the words are very, very similar to German.
That makes sense because
Yeah.
they're all this is because we went to school, you have the 7 is it 7 Roman or 7 Romance languages? I think it's
Oh,
7 it's the 7, like, foundational
yeah.
languages that human society started with, and, like, they all dispersed and, like, evolved over time. So, like,
Yeah.
somebody like myself who has, like, Haitian roots, I know
Yeah.
Haitian Creole, but Haitian Creole is also very similar to French.
Yeah.
And then a lot of those words are also similar to Spanish and then
Yeah.
obviously with English as well. So it's like some of my Spanish friends, I can understand what they're saying because the words are kind of similar depending on what the word is. And then you just, use common
Yeah.
knowledge or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, it was like in German, and then the person said hello. I was like, did you just say in German because they have a German accent? Like that's crazy. Yeah. Even if you didn't know about the whole Sam going to the command center thing, him having a bomb in a train station would have make no sense if they're trying to leave because the bomb would collapse the foundation and then they would all be stuck there. So that makes literally no sense, which horrible sort of like gotcha moment, which goes back to our conversation of like sex scenes of like, oh, we're going to put this in here for shock value. And it's like, is it really? If you have some common sense, it's like 2 plus 2 does not equal 5
And
here.
everybody
Like,
don't have common sense, so let's start there.
this is true.
I'm just a dumb
So
Iconic.
This leads me to my final point. Is Apple TV slightly overrated? Is Apple TV shaky? Because for the severances of the world, even though I don't put it, I mean, I guess Silo is a good TV show,
It
a
is.
really, really, really good TV show. You have Ted Lasso before the last season. You
Yeah.
have The Morning Show, which I never watched.
Yeah,
Like
pretty good.
it's shrinking, even though I don't love it, but I know how much praise it gets. The studio, Seth Rogen show. I think I'm gonna watch that at some point. But they have like really prestige TV, but then they kind of have some shit where
It's
it's
been
like, bro,
declining, and I don't know if this is because, like, the writer strike too as well, like, is that a part
mm,
of it? Why? Because in the beginning, like, Apple TV really had some hidden gems, like, some
hmm
real hidden gems where it was like, at one point I watched so many Apple TV shows where I'm like, "This is where all the heat is at." Like, it's on Apple TV. But now I feel like now the traction of Apple TV shows have kinda risen. They're kinda declining in the writers' room, and it's so
yeah, because this is going to be what maybe the third or fourth show that you and I have both watched, and it's kind of like, what are y'all doing?
yeah,
Changeling, good until it wasn't. Invasion, good until it wasn't.
literally.
Hijack, and then Hijack's
The
another
Last
show.
Frontier, Pluribus.
If Last Frontier was trash from the jump, so
Yeah,
that's different. Pluribus, you and I hate it, but everybody seems to love it.
I
We're the
don't understand.
outliers there. I
I
don't
don't
get
get
it.
that. I don't get that at all.
And that's it made me watching this made me think about Pluribus too, because Pluribus is primarily just her in this one town. And I
Yeah.
feel the same thing of like it's just Sam and this train. And it's like
Mhm.
if the train was like running at full speed at all times and like really causing like a ruckus, then it's like, okay, maybe, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like he's just riding the shit regularly and just constantly speaking back and forth with the command center. Like
Yeah.
literally nothing else is happening.
Nothing like, literally when I say nothing happened in this episode, nothing freaking happened at all. It was
Yeah.
kinda crazy. I thought I was missing something. Like, I literally had to watch it like, "Did I miss something?" And I didn't miss anything at all. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah.
All right, let's go to our ratings because
Alright.
we
Ooh.
ain't got time for this. We do not have time for this. I gave it a 2 out of 5 remotes because I because that first 15-20 minutes, I'm like, this shit kind of whack. I ain't gonna hold you. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
gave
would
it a two.
actually have to agree on that 2 out of 5 rating. I watched it twice again, and that didn't even make it go up, like, at all.
And the general public, I guess, kind of agrees with us
Oh,
because for
okay.
episode 1, they gave it a 6.9. Episode 2, they only gave it a 7.0. So they're kind of feeling us in terms of like
It could've been
the
a little lower.
shit. Yeah, this is true. This is true. Ain't really doing nothing. Ain't
Yeah.
really doing nothing. But let's move on. Next, we want to go to A Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Ooh, okay, it's a good one. Okay.
Yeah, they surprised me. They surprised me with
Me
they
too.
surprised me. They surprised me.
Me
But
too.
let's get into this. Episode 2, Hard Salt Beef. Dunk struggles to prove his knighthood to the Ashford tournament officials, eventually receiving unexpected help from Prince Baelor Targaryen, which allows him to register despite a lack of witnesses to his dubbing. Dunk encounters the Dornish puppeteer Tanzel, whom he commissions to paint his new sigil, a green shooting star over an elm tree, on the shield he inherited from Sir Alan. Egg's extensive knowledge of royal heraldry begins to raise more suspicions about his true origin. The tension at the tourney grounds escalates quickly, but Dunk encounters the cruel Prince Aerion Targaryen, mistakes Dunk for a stable boy, and mocks the current state of the knighthood. His arrogance contrasts sharply with the humble life Dunk and Egg lead as they camp on the outskirts of the meadow. The episode closes with Dunk preparing for the trials ahead as he talks to himself by the campfire, reflecting on his doubts and the weight of Sir Arlen's legacy. What were your immediate thoughts?
Honestly, way better than last episode, like 100% better. I literally felt like I think like last episode I was saying like this doesn't feel like a Game of Thrones. It doesn't even feel like a House of Dragon. We both said this last
Mhm.
episode. Like
They was killing us on social media. uh,
no!
they was like, read the book, read the book.
I can't do both, babe. I can't do both right now. Like it's on. I can't do both. But anyway, damn, not nice. But no, this episode was so much better. I felt like okay, I am in the Game of Thrones universe. Like once the Targaryens came, I'm like big Targaryens. We up, we up, we up. Targaryens
Gang
in the
gang.
building. Period. That's how I feel like. Yeah, yeah, we about to get into it. And then I love that we're getting more of, like, this Egg character. Like, I am
Bruh.
so entertained, I am so intrigued, like, I am so ready to get into Egg because the way he talks to Sir Duncan, the tall whatever his name is, Dunk,
Mhm.
he talks to him like an adult. And I'm low key feeling like, is this little boy actually a little boy, or is he actually a grown person? He's just very small. Like, he is so wise for
No,
how
I
he
think he's definitely a boy. He's not like, he don't have, like, a deformity. He's small for his size for a boy, but he's
yeah.
not like an adult who's just really
But, like,
small.
I got, like, the way that he talks and the way that, like, he's saying things, I mean, maybe they're just making it seem like Dunk is just actually an idiot on how he really is that stupid, but, like, the interaction is so, like, night and day. So I'm really looking forward to just for more now. I wasn't
Yeah.
last week. This week, I'm tuned in.
Yeah, yeah. I know why Dunk not Dunk. I know why Egg is the way he is, but that's a spoiler, so I'll keep it to
Okay.
myself. And then Dunk, I don't even really think that he's dumb. I think because he's an orphan, like, all he knows is everything that Sir Arlen taught him, and obviously, they show you, like, Sir Arlen was a very flawed knight, like,
Mhm.
you know, he was focused on wars and doing his duty, but then also like I don't want to call him like a bumbling idiot, but he was like a much I don't know what word to describe it, but Sir Arlen wasn't necessarily like the knights in the King's Guard level. Like he
Yeah,
was like, and even that's been the story thus far of like trying to, get that clearance to participate and telling them about Sir Arlen and all these things that he's aware of. But he's like, ain't nobody worried about no damn hedge knight. Like, what are you talking about, bro?
what
So
is a
it's
head
like,
guy?
right. So I think so Arlen is like, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
bestowing these sorts of morals on you. Some of them may be flawed, some of them may be right. But then because Dunk grew up under him, that's all he knows. And so
yeah,
he's way more naive, but he's also the biggest person in the room, which kind of like it's almost like a oxymoron to a
yeah,
certain extent.
yeah,
But yeah, I agree with you. This was such a compelling episode of TV just from like seeing their character developments individually and together. I don't even really like the Targaryen stuff. We already know the
yeah, yeah,
Targaryens. Like
yeah,
we know how they operate. Some of them are decent, some of them are shitty, or whatever the case may be. But like the best way to describe it, this is the first show that they're like trying to position, at least for me, of like focus less about all these different families and let's actually focus on these specific individuals and telling their story. Like, about the Lannisters, about the Targaryens, about all these different families, the political issues and all this other stuff, the dragons. Fuck all that. Focus on these two individuals and their growth and development as individuals, and then how that, their them being a duo and how that impacts them as they go along this journey. And I thought it was so well done. And it even felt like things were like starting to pick up. Like it
yeah.
wasn't necessarily as comical to a certain extent
Yeah, and
in
I'm so
comparison.
happy they let that go this episode because that was low key, like, killing it for me.
And even the comedy in it was like more honest comedy
Yes.
and like how natural people react to things versus like, oh, we're putting this in here intentionally. Seeing Sir Arlen and seeing like he got a big dick, like that's
That shit
intentional.
whoa. That
Like that was intentional.
whoa. That whoa. Who's using that? Like, obviously, that was fake. Like, yes, it was
Yes.
humongous, but obviously it was fake. But whoa, I didn't wanna start my episode like that.
Yes. But it goes back to the whole oxymoron thing of like
Yeah.
Sir Arlen, this guy who didn't really get any respect, but then he out here with the biggest dick of them all.
They usually always have small ass dicks on Game of Thrones.
Yes. Well, okay. There was a point I was gonna make, but it might be a spoiler, so I'll keep it to myself.
Okay.
The night, I think this is the scene where Dunk is talking to one of the knights and like how he became a knight or whatever. And the
Mhm.
knight from the Kingsguard says, the same way we became crabbers is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Dunk took it as like, oh, okay, like I gotta get on my hustle. Like I gotta
Yeah,
figure this out. But
yeah.
obviously we see future in the rest of the episode, Egg was like, his whole family own all the crabbers. Like, what are you talking about? He feeding you bullshit. Like,
Right, right. Wrong
but I just
message.
but he still goes about it because of obviously he sells his horse to,
Yeah.
get the money. And like also, and I was watching another podcast that recap the show, but this is also a show where like we're so used to House of Dragon, Game of Thrones of like
Mhm.
everybody being very cutthroat and people
Yes.
doing the best for themselves. But we're seeing Dunk actually navigate a world where like people are kind of helping him out. When he
Yeah.
asked Tanzel to like paint his sigil,
Yeah.
like she does him a solid. Even the I don't know the
The
proper
armor.
term, the
Yeah.
armory is 800. He was like, I only really got, 200. He was like, I'll do it for six. And it's
Yeah.
like normally they were like, "Oh, fuck off. Like, we
Literally.
ain't dealing with you." But, like, they're doing him a solid. And that could probably speak to, like, the state of the world at the time, or it could just speak to how people interact with Dunk and because
Yeah.
of who he is. Because of all the characters that we've seen in Game of Thrones thus far in the universe, like, he's probably the more honorable individuals and, like,
Yes,
nice
100%.
people that we've, like, dealt with. And he's just, like, just genuine with everybody that he deals with.
Yeah. When I first watched the first episode, I was with my friends and I made them watch it 'cause I look at a lot of TV to watch. Like, "Let's do this right now." But, one of my friends, he was like, I like him, I like him." And I was like, "He's gonna get ate up in this universe because we know everybody in this Game of Thrones universe is cutthroat. To be nice and be honorable don't mean nothing. You can do all that all you want and you'll get killed tomorrow." Actually, today, not even tomorrow, today, right now. So, it is good to see even other characters be kinda honorable in some senses too as well. That's something that we are not used to at all in this universe, which I love.
Exactly,
I love.
exactly. Speaking of Tanzel, obviously, Dunk has not had a lot of conversations with women in general, so he completely fumbles that conversation. But the scene that had me cackling
Well, I
was
know, I
when
know,
he
I know.
said something to her like, "You're not too tall for," and he stops, and then Egg just snaps his head like, "What you mean? I know you're not like proposing sexual favors to this woman." And that was just such a genuine like response in
Oh,
that moment, and I was just like, "They did it. They did it." Like you're seeing like how awkward and how much of like social anxiety he
yeah,
has, and like Egg is the one who has to like handle the conversation
which
with
is
him
so
and like and
interesting.
even help him like define like what his sigil should be
Yeah,
because he's never really like thought about himself in any sort of regard.
no,
Like he's always been in service of Sir Arlen, and
yeah,
like now his whole focus is like becoming a knight, or he became a knight, but nobody's witnessed it. So it's like getting some level of respect amongst people in general. So it's like he's never thought about like his heritage and all these
yeah,
other things. And he's an orphan. He
yeah,
literally has no history. So it's like he's
mhm.
defining it on his own. And I just thought like that was such a interesting sort of scene to have in that show.
Yeah, yeah. No, I thought you were gonna say, when he was talking about her, like, after the whole interaction, and then Egg was like, y'all are both, gigantic." That cracked me up. But, like, yeah, no, y'all do have something in common. Y'all are both gigantic.
Yes.
Maybe y'all could have tall babies or something, I don't know.
Yes. And the other scene that had me dying was, and I think it happens after too, when they're having that conversation and Dunk
Uh-huh,
is like, yeah, like everybody calls me stupid. And
uh-huh.
then Egg is like, okay, what do you say? He just never finished it. And there's no way they wrote that in the script. I think that's
Right.
that actor's genuine response. I'm
Yeah. Okay, like, he's like,
like,
"Aren't you supposed to be helping me?" Like, where is, like, the lesson?
where yeah,
Like,
like where is
what is
this
this?
going? Like everybody's
Yeah.
calling me dumb. And like, come on. That was just
Yeah,
great,
yeah,
great, great scene. Like
yeah.
Egg might be my favorite character in the Game of Thrones universe. Like he
100%.
might be my
Well,
favorite character.
next to, Jamie and Cersei's brother, I can't think of his name right now. Tyrion.
Tyron? Yeah,
Yeah, like, he
yeah.
definitely is one of my favorites, for sure. Egg is
Yes.
probably right next to him, for sure.
Yes, yes. Because he
Yeah.
has this level of like, how can I say this without spoiling anything? He has
No.
this presence about himself,
Yeah.
but then like he's still a child. And
Mhm.
so like there's a level that he comes across that's like really, really genuine that
Yeah.
I really appreciate. And then I found it also interesting of like Dunk having that like panic attack when they're watching like the jousting, which we haven't necessarily like seen
I and
that
that
in Game of Thrones. Like usually people are like, okay, you have people who are like scared, but then you have people who's like, hey, I've been a knight all my life, or like a Jon Snow, this is my duty or
yeah,
whatever. And like people are very used to and very comfortable in their position. And here's this person, like, he's legit having a panic attack. And it's
I
like,
don't think he's ever been in any type of sparring, any battle, and I feel like him seeing that joust, it was like, "Oh, shit.
this
This
is
is what I
real. Like, it's
yeah,
about to be
this
real.
this is what I'm saying I wanna do. I'm doing all of this to do this, and this is what Imma have to do, and this looks a little crazy." So, like, I get it, but yeah, getting the feel.
Yeah.
Getting
It
the
was
feel.
like, to me, it was almost given like a level of like imposter syndrome
Yeah,
of like,
100%.
am I really built for this? Like, you're the
Mhm.
tallest guy in the damn meadows or whatever the shit is called. But like, am I really built for this? And
Yeah.
obviously, we see how strong he is because they had that tug of war scene
Oh, yeah.
also, which I
I
could be
love.
wrong. I don't remember how many like slow motion scenes were in Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon, but I thought that was also like really interesting as well. Of like,
Mhm.
them showing that scene because it's not really an action scene,
Yeah.
but it's like they did the slow
Like, showing
motion
his strength, I feel like.
showing his strength. Then you
Yeah.
have the other Lannister who I guess he's not necessarily comedic relief, but he was on the line and he went to go get a drink. Shows how much of an alcoholic he is. And then you obviously have Egg in the front, who's like
Yeah.
he not even staying on
He's
the
not
ground.
even pulling. He's not
He's
even
not even on
pulling.
the ground, but he's trying. And then even him of like he asked Dunk, like, "Do you really think it could be a knight?" Because
Yeah.
it's like I'm so small for my age, and it's like, could I actually be someone who grows up and has that kind of like sort of legacy?
Yeah.
And then obviously it ends with them kind of like, even though Egg doesn't really have any lines, but Dunk basically like giving himself his own hype speech of like
Mhm.
basically what he said in that little monologue was like, they're gonna learn today. Like they're gonna learn today. And that might be him trying to convince himself, like, I could do this shit. And
Yeah.
I was like, well done. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done. I don't know if you had any points, but that was like a
No.
really solid episode. Like,
No,
I
no,
was
oh,
thoroughly impressed.
no, it was really, really good. Only thing I will say, I feel like, I think another point of, like, the jousting scene is I
Mhm,
feel like that was Dunk really understanding that he's actually putting his life on the line for someone else's entertainment. Like, you want to be this knight, you want to be honorable and all these things, but you're really not doing it for yourself. You're doing it just so people can know your name because
mhm.
everybody, he went to all these different people about a Targaryen and nobody knew who he was. But and he feel like he did a lot. Only one person out of how many people did he ask knew who he was, and I feel like another point was he was realizing then that I'm putting my life on the line for other people to really laugh at and be entertained too at the same time.
Right, right, right. All right, we can get into the ratings. I'm trying to think. I originally gave this like a 3.5, but I feel like
Okay.
it might be a 4.
100% a 4. 100% a 4. It's
Yeah, I think it might
100%
be a 4.
4. This was it was a well, and I forget that these episodes are not long. They're not even an hour long, and I felt like I got so much in just a little time, and I didn't even feel like it was even 30 minutes. I really was gonna say, "Hold on, is this a little bit longer than what it was last week?"
Exactly. I was like, this kind of felt like an hour-long episode,
Yeah,
but that just shows how rich the
yeah,
writing was in it,
yeah,
and obviously the performances by everybody that was present.
yeah,
It was really, really well done. So yeah,
yeah,
I agree. It's definitely a 4. It's definitely a
yeah,
4.
yeah.
Okay, last but not least, we
Okay.
will move on to The Pit.
Mm.
In season 2, episode 3 of The Pit, titled 9 a.m., the staff at PTMC deals with the heavy fallout of the chaotic 4th of July weekend while bracing for a code black at the nearby Westbridge Hospital. Dr. Robbie treats Yana, a burn victim whose trauma is compounded by her history as a survivor of the 2018 Tree of Life synagogue shooting, leading to a poignant moment of community connection, while Dr. Santos navigates a tense, suspected child abuse case that is ultimately revealed to be a rare autoimmune blood disorder. And the team solves a medical mystery involving a paralyzed motorcycle crash victim whose condition is actually caused by a treatable potassium imbalance. The episode balances these personal victories with an overarching sense of dread, ending on a cliffhanger as the hospital prepares to absorb a massive influx of patients from the shuttered Westbridge facility. Before I ask for your thoughts, the
Mhm.
only thing I will tell you is this episode was actually written by Noah Wiley, who is Dr. Robbie.
Okay.
So
Okay.
proceed.
Okay.
Proceed.
Okay, my first thoughts. This is another episode I had to watch twice. I kinda I felt the same how I felt when I watched Hijack the first time. It was like a lot of like based off of last episode where we're building up on that snowball.
Mhm.
And I felt like, dang, not much of the storyline of the characters. I didn't really get much this episode. I feel like it was mostly about the patients. I feel like in this episode, it was about the patients and kind of like a buildup of what's going to happen next episode, honestly. What's going on with the patients, kind of juxtaposing everyone. And even like, I feel like a big thing when it came to like Robbie and the motorcycle accident. And then after that, you cut to, do you know Robbie's going to take off for 3 months on a motorcycle? Like, kind of like, maybe foreshadowing or something about will Robbie freaking leave or not? Like, is this like a foreshadowing about this? So I felt like the patient stories were way more important in this episode than I feel like the previous episodes, which I still feel like very entertained. And I'll have more as we keep going for this.
Yes, I definitely had the same sort of thought process. It was like this was really patient focused and like
Yeah.
really telling a full story with a lot of these patients or ending some of these stories with some of the patients that have been in the hospital or in the medical center
Mhm.
in the previous episodes. So I thought that was really interesting, which I don't think I researched it on purpose, but I think when I was just scrolling on social media, it was like, oh, Noah Wiley wrote this. And I was like, interesting. I feel like that was very intentional of like, yes,
Mhm.
we have these characters, we have these doctors, but like outside of like the Dr. Al Hashimi
Mhm.
storyline, nobody else really got anything crazy going on that we really need to
No.
know about. So it's kind of like it makes sense that he would want to focus on the actual patients. And I
Mhm.
don't know what his ethnic background is, but I
In
thought it
real
was also
life?
interesting. Dr. Robbie. I don't
In real
know.
life, are you saying? Or are you
Yeah,
saying like
in real life, in real
okay,
life. I know in the well, in the show, I think he's Jewish, but I
yeah.
don't know what yeah. But so I thought it was also very interesting that he chose
Mhm.
to highlight, that 2018 incident, which I did do research on, and, like, that's legit
Mhm.
something that actually happened. Someone went into, a synagogue and, like, 11 people died,
Mm,
which is kinda crazy.
yes,
But I thought that was very interesting that he put that in there because this is what we're in 2026. This is 8 years ago.
yeah,
So, it's interesting that he chose to, like, highlight that real life event. Going into it, I knew that security guard was racist, and Nurse Dana already peeped it, and we got our confirmation. We got our confirmation. Also, I think I said this going into this season, and I'm going to keep saying it every time
yeah,
I'm wild, but the attention to detail is absurd because that patient with the crushed skull, when he peeled that bandage back and his skin peeled like an orange, I was like, whoa, whoa, wait a minute. Y'all doing a lot. Like, that's
yeah,
crazy. And to think, like, these are things that legit can happen to you. You know
right,
what this episode made me this is probably one of the first episodes since watching this show that made me appreciate how healthy that I am for the most part because like crazy shit like this could happen
yeah,
at any given point and we kind of take life for granted in so many ways, like
yeah.
so many ways.
This episode definitely made me feel like there are a lot going on in hospitals, and they're really going in slow motion, even though everything is happening so quickly. And it's just
Mhm.
like, yes, every day, so many things are happening every day in the hospital. And actually reminded me of how much I freaking hate hospitals. And why I don't
Same.
like to be in there because you can be in there all day, even though it's so many other things happening at the same time. So
Right.
yeah,
And then you could like have negative thoughts and think you're not being prioritized, and
mm,
somebody literally in the next stall could literally be having their skin peeled off their head like a fucking orange. And you're like,
yeah,
bro, why y'all not take care of me the way y'all need to be taking care of me? It's like this person's life and death.
like
Calm,
literally,
calm
you're
down.
alive, you're alive.
Yeah. Once they cut to that guy who was showing like those behavior issues
Mm,
again, because at first I didn't know what was going on, but once they cut up to him again, it literally hit brain tumor. I was like, brain tumor. So then when they finally got all the tests back, I was
yeah,
like, Yeah, and he specifically was what made me realize, like, the whole, like well, not made me realize, but reminded me of, like, the whole life is precious thing because his storyline is insane because obviously his emergency contact is his ex-wife shows up, she's partially frustrated because it's like, "Yo, we broke off on bad terms, like, why am I still on there?" And then when,
She hated him. She absolutely
yeah,
hated.
and then when she, like, reveals something and then it's like, "Damn," like and then it's crazy how this one little thing like, he went in because he, like, fell or, got into a minor
Mhm,
injury, sprained wrist, come to find out, you now has a brain tumor, and it's like you came in for a quote unquote routine thing, and now your
mhm,
whole entire life has completely changed. And that's just like
mhm,
fucking crazy. And it's also, to
mhm.
your point, why a lot of people, specifically a lot of black men, avoid going to the doctor and avoid going to hospitals because you just never know. Like we're literally all a ticking time bomb. Like you could be perfectly fine, go about your regular everyday life, and that one abnormally in, whatever tests, and then they do extra tests, and it's like, "Oh, come to find out you have this," and it's like, "Bro, what the entire fuck?" Like, what the entire fuck?
Yep.
Um, and then it also, like, fucked me up because, like, the reason why they broke up was because of, some of behavioral things, and
Exactly. Everything made sense to her, and, like, once they said he has a brain tumor, it was like, "Oh, this is why he was." They probably got divorced on the most nastiest terms, like, she was like, "I don't care nothing about him. Why we been divorced, like, I don't wanna see
right.
him. I'm married, like, I've moved on with my life." And that just, like, the way her mood changed, like, immediately, like, "I need to be checking up on this man, like, he don't have nobody." And she still love him, like, everything made sense to her, like, maybe probably even shouldn't have gotten divorced, like, maybe that was something we probably didn't even need to do.
Right, because she has now made decisions on her life. She's moved
Mhm.
on, dated somebody else, now is married with somebody else. Had he never had that issue,
Yep,
potentially, they probably still would have been together because
yep,
she even said, like, they were perfectly fine and just out of
yeah,
nowhere, his behavior started to change. So it's
yep.
like, damn, like,
Everything started making sense.
that's crazy because you
Yeah,
literally a series of events happen because of this one thing that's completely out of this person's control.
yep,
Like, that's wild.
yep, yep.
So going back to, I believe her name is Yana, the Russian lady with the
Uh-huh.
burns who, she was reliving the traumatic issues with Tree of Life. And obviously, well, not obviously, I forget, was it the nurse? Yeah, the young nurse with the
Mhm.
pigtails. She was like in awe because she treated the burns with like honey. And
Uh-huh.
Dr. Robbie was like, yeah, honey, if the
Yeah.
burns aren't as severe, like honey is a good solution. The only reason why I noted this was because I have my own personal
It's your
medical
remedy?
story.
Yeah.
Yes. This was many, many moons ago. I was
Yeah.
working for FedEx Kinko's.
Mhm.
I was working the night shift or evening shift, and like we ordered some food. So I'm in the back eating, order some Chinese food, bite into a chicken wing. My tooth starts hurting for no reason. I'm
Uh-huh.
like, yo, what's going on? And I'm thinking, like, all right, this is going to subside. It's going to go away. If this is like, I don't know what time it is, like maybe 6, 7 o'clock, I get off at like 11, my tooth is hurting the rest of the shift. Like it
Mhm.
does not stop at all. And I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, and this is 2000 9, 10, I believe. So
Mhm.
there's no 4-hour service,
Mhm.
urgent care. Like these
Yeah.
things don't exist. Dentist office already
All you got is
closed.
the hospital.
Right. So I think I went next door and I got Orajel from
Mhm.
whatever, Rite Aid or whatever it was. Put it on the tooth, shit don't work. I get
Mhm.
home, it's midnight or whatever. I'm like, bro, when I tell you this shit is like throbbing,
Yeah, I bet.
I cannot go to sleep. Like I
Yeah.
cannot go to sleep. It's like mustard on the beat on my face. Like I cannot go to sleep at all. And then I'm like, they always tell you, doctors always tell you, do not Google remedies at all. I was desperate,
Uh-huh.
desperate. Went on Google, there was like the juice of a lime can act like a painkiller. Just bite it on the infected tooth because you probably have a wisdom tooth, and like
Mhm.
it will numb the pain. Went
Mhm.
downstairs, I was like, it's just some juice from a lime. What's the worst that could happen? Went downstairs, cut up the lime, bit it on the wisdom tooth. When I tell you that shit was gone immediately, like it didn't even take like a few minutes. I'm talking about like immediate. That pain was gone. When I was knocked out sleeping like a baby, I was like, yo, they said not to Google, but they might be wrong on this one. They might be wrong.
I Reddit everything, number 1. Let's start there. Reddit, if you need to find something out, somebody else been through it, okay? Go to Reddit. They can
This
help
is
you
true.
out and figure it out. So, yeah, no, you ain't wrong. You definitely not wrong for
Yeah,
that.
because I was knocked out, woke up the next morning like, "Yeah, you gotta get this bad boy out." I'm good though, but you gotta get him out
Good
because
go. Yeah,
yeah, but
yeah.
so when that scene happened, I was like, "Oh, good to know. I'll write this one
Get that
down.
honey. That honey.
Get burned, put that honey on it."
Not butter.
Um,
Not butter like the black people say.
and I will call it. I called it. I called it in this
What?
podcast specifically. I said he did not abuse that girl. She
Oh,
probably has some rare autoimmune thing. I
yeah.
called it and I was right. I was
Yeah.
right. I was right. Sign me up. Get me on the cast. I could do this.
I mean, honestly, it was leaning towards he didn't abuse her because the way she was going, like, yeah, no, she's just super, like, it was obvious she's just a super active little girl, like soccer, skateboard, and she doing this, she running around. Like, you can tell she's just super, super active. So it was like obvious, but it's always something in these shows, right? So it's like, you gotta just be vigilant.
Yes, but I also feel like it was more so a teaching
Hmm.
experience for
Yes,
Santos because she is a character
immediately.
who
Yeah.
and the personal life of her character was someone who was abused
Hmm.
previously. And I remember in season one, there was also another kid that was being abused, but I
Hmm.
think the wife was like slipping him drugs, so he was like in some
Hmm.
weird like paralysis or whatever. And remember, she
Mhm.
goes to and like threatens him like, "You ever touch your daughter again? Like, we gonna make sure you don't leave this hospital next time."
Yeah,
And so I think that was like a teaching moment for her of like, you can't just apply your
immediately.
personal life
Yeah,
to work. Like work
yeah,
is separate. You need to look
yeah,
at each individual case like an individual case
yeah.
versus preconceived notions, which we know a lot of people tend to do.
Mhm.
With that being said, the girlfriend, why the fuck did you stay? Like, why did you? First of all, it looks like they have some sort of toxic relationship dynamics there. First off, I don't remember how long they haven't been dating for a while.
Only 6 months.
Why? And I get it. I would assume, I don't know. I don't have kids, but I think 6 months is probably a solid start time to like possibly start. If this is someone you really see yourself being with long term, maybe. I don't know. If you're a parent out there, let us know in the comments if you agree. But I just found it very interesting of like he was really angry and upset that, she kind of like insinuated that he may possibly be the case because even if there was any doubt,
Mm,
then it's like why stay? Because obviously there's professionals there, there's police there. Like even if he was possibly assaulting his child, just leave, just go. Like you're not a guardian of any kind.
yeah,
Let the professionals handle it. Now he's here. You know the truth. You already were arguing because he felt some type of way. And now
yeah,
you're just standing there to be mad because you're not a parent, so that the doctors aren't talking to you. So
yeah,
like, I don't know. I just found that like really weird of like why stay. And then when he reacts, you're mad and you still stay, only to leave when he approaches you again. Like, I don't know. I
I have thoughts. I have thoughts. I have thoughts, and Imma bring up one other thing, and then I'll tell you my thoughts. Of the reason why the buildup was so much with them. So the other couple where the guy had the potassium, where the car accident with the motorcycle, and how he was basically paraplegic, quadriplegic, like, and all that happened, and then like his wife is like freaking out. Come to find out, she also had internal bleeding, and it's just like just so much happening, so much happening. You have anything to say about that couple before I say what I want to say?
If she dies, they're going
Mhm.
to kill me. They are
Yeah.
going to kill me if
Mhm.
she dies.
Mhm.
Because the whole thing, for people who haven't watched, is, car accident. They come in, he's paralyzed. They think they may not make it. Come to find out, it's just a potassium issue. They could get
Mhm.
it resolved. He'll be fine in a few hours. She has internal bleeding from injuries because she's just so focused. And
Well,
obviously,
yeah, yeah,
this is such a life is precious episode. She feels guilt because let me not say nagging. They're arguing
yeah,
about things that aren't necessarily as serious as what we really think. But, when we're in these emotional relationships, we, over accentuate certain stuff.
Yeah,
it's really small in comparison to like what our love, what our dynamic is. So
yeah.
she's just like, fuck my and obviously you're running off adrenaline. You're not even thinking
Mhm,
about all of that. So for her to then collapse and now she needs to be in surgery, I believe. And then
mhm.
he's like, oh, let me record this video.
Af
Bro,
after he seen the other couple arguing, so that's like it clicked in his head, like something clicked in his head to make it make sense.
if she don't get a chance to record that video, I mean,
Mhm.
if she don't get a chance to
Yeah.
see that video and she ends up dying and he ends up living, they're gonna break me. They are going to break me because that is a big like, what the fuck? Because she
Mhm.
literally thought like, damn, he's about to be paralyzed. Then come to find out, oh, he's gonna be okay. He learns that he's gonna be okay. Come to find out, now his
She's not
wife,
okay at all.
she's not okay. There's a chance you're gonna die. And then the
Yep.
last time we had a conversation, we were arguing and bickering with each other. It's only episode 3.
Yeah,
It's only
yeah,
episode 3.
yeah. So my thoughts. Okay, great. So I'm happy you got everything out. So I feel like it's a juxtaposition of everything. So you have this newer couple, 6 months in, they're arguing like cats and dogs because they simply just don't know each other. They
Mhm.
simply just don't know each other. They don't trust you. They don't enough. It's like things are so new. It's just all these things, right? And then you have this couple, um, they've been married for 7 years. I don't know how long they've been together, but think they said they've been married for 7 years. And so, like, that whole accident and them just like how you said, like, their last conversation is them arguing and all of these things. And then you have this other couple where you have a divorced couple where, they were really good until he started arguing, his mood changed and they got divorced. And now years later, it's like you can still like I still felt the love between that divorced couple, right? Even though she moved on, his life is gonna be different. So it's just kind of really show you stages of relationships. And how
That's
they
a
like
excellent point.
I know because I also have been in a relationship for a very long time and people
Because
ask me all the time.
I didn't even put that together of like there's actually multiple couples in this episode. I was so focused on each individual group. I wasn't looking at them collectively. That is such a great point.
Yeah, for me, I've been in a relationship for it'll be 10 years this year. I've been married, it'll be 2 years this year. We've been through it. So, like, I've seen it, and then also, like, I have friends who've been in long term. People have been married and everything, like, shorter than I've been in my relationship. So I've seen these up and downs in
Mhm.
relationships, and you have all these highs and lows. And it's like just comparing these three different couples in three different times of their lives really shows you how precious life is, how precious partnership is, how precious it is to have someone, companionship, like things we just don't think about until something so
Mhm.
traumatic happens to
Mhm.
us.
Mhm.
So we all need somebody. Let's put it out there. We all need somebody, and this is like a perfect way to show you how much you need somebody when something is happening to you. So, yeah.
Yes. And I think, and I said it already, but I think it also shows like sometimes you got to look at things from a bigger view. Because I
Yes.
think a lot of times, especially living in a capitalist society, we could get
Yes.
so fixated on this one. You didn't do this. And it's like,
Yes.
okay, but what about all the things that they did do and
Yeah.
are doing? And
Yeah.
like, that Asian couple is a perfect example of like they're
Mhm.
arguing because he didn't really want to go on vacation because he was
Mhm.
work and whatever. And she's like, no, we gotta do this. And it's like
Yeah.
now vacation don't mean shit.
Yep.
The vacation don't mean shit.
Yep.
So yeah, that's such a great point. Such
Yeah.
a great point. I know we kind of jumped all over the place, but I have several points here
Okay.
with the couple that's been together for 6 months. This is why I
Mhm.
don't another reason why I don't date people with kids, because who has the time? Who has the time? I've already brought it up. If that Asian woman dies, that shit is gonna break my heart.
Yeah.
And I think even Dr. Robbie says it because he's talking to the husband
Mhm.
and he's talking, and I think they're talking. He was talking about how they was arguing and this is that
Mhm,
and the third, and then he starts to like think of like life because now his wife is needs attention or whatever,
mhm.
and he's like tells Dr. Robbie is like, is this how it works? You think things are so important, then you end up here and see like doesn't it really isn't that important. And then Robbie
Mhm,
says like, yeah, that's literally how life works.
mhm.
Like, this is why they always say, like, probably if it's possible, have some sort of like connection with older people in your family because they're the ones who've seen it
100%.
all, they've experienced it all, and they're the ones who are able to put things in perspective because you
Yes,
can see, like, yo, you think at that time in your 20s and your teens, it's like, oh, this person doesn't like me, and it's the worst day and worst part of your life. And it's like
100%.
that
It
shit
don't
don't
mean
mean
nothing.
nothing.
Don't
Don't
mean
mean
nothing.
nothing.
Yo,
Don't
nothing.
mean nothing.
And
This is
that's
what
why
I
I choose my
always
Go ahead, go ahead, go
no,
ahead.
no. I
No,
always
go ahead,
tell
go ahead.
people everything in life is temporary. For
Mhm.
people that, Aquarius, we're cold hearted, we don't care. It's not we don't care. I mean, sometimes we don't care.
I give a
But
fuck.
I don't give a fuck. It's not that we don't care, it's that we are able to realize, like, yo, everything in life is temporary. I'm gonna be happy, I'm gonna be sad. Sometimes I'm not gonna feel anything at all, but it's
Yeah,
all gonna be temporary because I'm gonna have new experiences that
yep,
I'm going to have to react to. So it's like
yep,
I don't get too high, I don't get too low, but I celebrate and live and experience all these emotions when they happen because there's going to be
mhm,
times where it's like the things that I'm complaining about, or the things that I think is the absolute fucking worst thing in the world,
yeah,
a year from now, 5 years from now, they're gonna be such a microcosm to whatever it is that I'm
yeah,
experiencing in that moment. So it's
yeah.
like, shout out to Noah Wiley because this is a
No,
for
yeah,
somebody who's I don't know what his credentials are. Obviously, he's been on ER. I don't know how much work he's done in ER in terms of being in the writing room. For somebody who apparently wrote this whole episode and he's an actor, like there's people, they give input. There's people they just want to act. But for the fact he was able to actually write something and craft something so beautiful was like, that's really profound. And that kind of just shows maybe his life and his experiences and like his perspective of one of the things that he's seen, or even if he hasn't necessarily experienced things on his own, but like the people around him and what he's taken from them to like incorporate that sort of like message. Like that's
yeah,
kind of like well
yeah.
done on his part.
Definitely with the art imitating life, like, in a different way, like, in a different way, like, something you're like it's not, like, straightforward, it's just, like, you gotta think about it, you gotta think like, you really have to think about what you're watching and what you're processing, not for entertainment, just of what the
What
message is.
Exactly. What are they trying to tell me in
Yeah,
this specific fictional story? Like,
yeah,
what are they trying to express in these different interactions that you're seeing?
mhm,
And
yeah,
I think that's why there was so much more of a focus on the patients versus
mhm,
the doctors, because the
mhm,
doctors, you kind of have to separate work from your
mhm,
personal life versus these patients could tell a story in this short amount of time that they're on the screen.
yeah.
And it could be so impactful.
Yeah. Oh, no, my last thing, my last thing, my last thing,
Yes,
my last
yes,
thing.
yes. Go
Sorry,
ahead. Go
sorry.
ahead.
This is actually a really good episode now I think about it. Back to what you were saying about talking to your older people and stuff like that, like, where you can gain wisdom and stuff. I talk to my mom all the time. I talk to my grandmother all the time. That's kinda why I talked about, like, the companionship of it all. These are single women in my life who they're getting older and things are happening to them, and it's just like they say like, my grandma tell me all the time, like, "You should be thankful that you have someone, there who cares about you and stuff," and my grandma's 81. So, like, I'm like, "Girl, please, like, it's just a man," But she's right, like, when things are happening, like, my mom, she my mom's in the hospital right now, but, like, even with that, like, it put a lot in perspective of, like, life. When
Mhm.
something's happening to you and you don't have nobody there to take care of you, that is major. That is really, really, really major. Like, we all need someone. It could be friend, lover, whatever it is, but just having companionship is very important.
Yes, people you can depend on
Yeah,
in certain capacities. I know
yeah.
a lot of, I mean, not to get too deep, but like capitalism, kind of spurns
Mm,
people being individuals and having
yeah,
to fight for self because there's, so little that people can acquire. But
Mhm.
when we're talking about like for human existence, like human connection is so necessary because
Yeah.
even if it isn't to an extent of like someone coming to your aid financially or physically, like sometimes you just need somebody to like talk to or just
Mhm.
connect with on some sort of emotional level. And I think a lot of times because we now live on the internet so much, it's so easy to just live in your own bubble and just consume,
Mhm.
consume, consume, but then don't really connect with other people. I only have two more points before we wrap things up. Going
Okay.
back to the gentleman who has the brain tumor,
Mhm.
if your ex had you, let's say a good ex, or let's say any random ex had you as an emergency contact, would
Mhm.
you have pulled up?
Child, my husband, child, please. My husband would be like, "No." But I guess I don't know, it's hard because if someone's calling you as your emergency contact, it has to be like an emergency.
Emergency.
It
Yeah.
has to be an emergency, and especially when you're like a single person and you don't have no one else, it might be beneficial to pull up. Yeah, just knowing what I'm going through now and everything, yes, I will have to say I would. Now, will my husband like it? No. But, for me and my what's the word I'm looking for, like, not my soul, but
Spirit.
yes, like, I would have to, 'cause I would feel really bad after, like, if something happened and, I just wasn't there, I would feel really bad. Just to be lonely is not fun and something like that.
Yeah. And then there's also, even if it's not the pulling up factor, but like sometimes it's just the police asking for information or whoever just asking for information, like, hey, do you know this person's last whereabouts, whatever.
Yeah.
And like those sorts of details help with,
Mhm.
missing person cases, things of that nature. So I think even
Yeah.
if the person and I didn't end on great terms, if they had me
Mhm.
as an emergency contact, I would still show up because at the end of the day, like, before we're somebody's son, daughter, friend, whatever, we are human beings. And there
100%.
is a level of human courtesy that everyone should be owed off the bat. We don't get it all the time because humans are flawed, but there's a level of human decency that everybody should be owed off the
Yeah.
bat. So I think even in that scenario, I would probably still pull up and be like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't talk to her. What she did? I knew she had like, grabby hands. So I knew she probably did. She did that shit. What 50 said on Power? Whatever he said he did that shit. And my last point, I didn't personally get emotional watching this, but I know for a fact these actors and actresses have to get emotional on set.
Mhm.
Because watching the actress who played Yana
Mhm.
relive. Oh, this was another point I had. Because she made this statement how well her whole thing was like she burned herself because of the fireworks and whatever, and like how that
Mhm.
scared me because it triggers her and
Mhm.
reminds I fucking hate fireworks. I never
Mm.
cared for them as a kid. Like they were nice to look at as a kid, but I never played with fireworks. My parents was having that. And now as an adult, I hate that shit.
It's so
Like
dangerous.
I hate that shit. I remember this football player blew off his fingers with fireworks many years ago. And like, there's a house. Well, I don't know those people. I don't even know what they look like. But there's a house across the street from my building, and
Mhm.
they just be lighting fireworks for any fucking occasion.
Mhm.
Christmas, Thanksgiving, July 4th.
Mhm.
It could be
New Year.
National Cheeseburger Day. They lighting
Me
fireworks
too.
for whatever reason, and
Yeah.
I hate it so much.
Yeah.
And my building has a lot of people with pets, and as someone who don't have a pet, I've then
Pets don't
discovered
like
that
fireworks at
animals
all.
hate that
They're
shit.
so
But, like,
scared.
my building be like a ghost town during July 4th because everybody
Mm.
leaves because they can't deal with the fireworks because everybody has
Yeah.
pets. So, I hate fireworks. But the other point I was gonna make was, like, her giving that whole, like not monologue, but her recanting the stories of, like, the synagogue and the shooting and everything. I knew if I was on set for that, that would've broke me. Even
Mhm.
if I mean, I don't know if she's actually lived that or knows people. I'm assuming she's just an actress.
Maybe,
But
yeah.
even so, regardless of the fact, her just recanting that because there are a lot of these are places that we consider sacred, no matter what religion you believe in. Like,
Mhm.
even like, what they used to say with the dope boys, no dope on Sunday, because
Mhm.
like that's church. Like there's certain things that we respect.
Have a
So
coat.
there's certain things and certain honor system that we live by. And it's like for someone to go into a synagogue, which we unfortunately have now seen this multiple times, synagogue, churches, schools,
Churches.
like
Yeah,
all these sacred places, and we've seen people, taken away. Like that would break me with her performance of like reliving that. And
yeah,
like, yeah, I
yeah, yeah.
I I don't want to end it on a sad note, but that was just like the last point I had on there because I think the episode kind of ends with her like somewhat reliving those details and like, whatever. But that was a really good episode of TV. I don't know if you have any more points out. I'm done.
My only last thing is
Hmm.
whatever tragedy is about to happen this season, it's going to be a very long tragedy. We are only on episode 3, and episode 4 is probably where everything will start falling, apart. I do love that the betting game is like a thing for them, so I am excited to like, get that where how many people, all those things throughout the rest of the season. But whatever happened had to be something extremely big.
Yeah, because you would think
'Cause last season, it took episodes for them to get to the tragedy.
yes, but also you would think that, and this is going to sound crazy to say, but you would think that the mass casualty situation would apply to July 4th because you imagine people seeing fireworks, they're hearing sounds, they're thinking, oh, it's the fireworks, but come to find out it's actually a shooter. So it's going to be
Mm.
very interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see how do they tie July 4th to whatever crazy
It probably
situation.
was a shooting because just think about it, we're only in hour 3, so we're in the daytime, and the reason why she came to the hospital is because the fireworks kept going off. Who does fireworks in at 1 p.m.? Or I think or even earlier than that.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not a.
Exactly. 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 Exactly.
But if they do that, I feel like y'all
I
did
mean,
it
like,
last
we'll
y'all
see,
did it
we'll see.
season 1. Yeah, yeah.
It might not be a shooting. It might be who knows? Maybe it is a shooting. I don't know. I mean, they're literally mass shootings in America all the time.
This is true.
So it's like if that is the route they're going, that's the world we live in. That's the society we live in.
I'm just trying to think of, like, what crazy event could you necessarily tie to, like, July 4th?
And maybe it's nothing to do with July 4th. It's just the 4th of July is already a tragic freaking holiday. So they're starting
Mhm.
early this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the mass casualty situation in season 1 was because of the festival,
Mhm.
which we unfortunately have had that in real life before as well.
Mhm.
So it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, let's go into the ratings for this episode. Low key want to give it like a 5, but I'll give it a 4.5. I'll give it a
That's a
4.5.
4.5.
Yeah, because just for Noah Wiley writing that
Yeah.
himself, like
Yeah.
you was in your bag, sir. You was
Yeah,
in
and we
your
talked
bag.
about it for a good amount of time, so, yeah, I feel like the more we talked about it, the more I was like, "Oh, yeah, this" again, I watched it twice. So, the more, like, I watched it and all of this, like, yeah, it was that deep. It
Yeah,
was that
yeah,
deep.
yeah. That was really good. That was
Yeah.
really good. But that is all we have for y'all. We gave y'all a hour and 18 minutes
Ooh,
of
child.
quality content. We gave you Netflix drama, sex scene drama, gave you boring ass hijack, gave you a really good episode of the Night of Seven Kingdoms, and a
Yep.
really good episode of The Pit. And we're gonna be covering Cross in Paradise too. Like, come on, man. Like,
You
the,
better get
the thing,
our thoughts.
listen, man, the things we do for the people. The
Yes.
things we do for the people. It's gonna be 2026 is gonna be a really good TV year.
It's going up.
Is a really good TV year because
Yeah.
you also have Invincible, Daredevil, what else? I feel like there was something else that also coming out that I forgot about. I don't know. There's a bunch of shit. Plus,
Mhm.
we got stuff planned. Obviously, we also have our rewatch series, Rewind and Analyze. So, yeah, a lot of content for y'all. And how could I forget? If you've seen it on socials, we have a new specialized segment where the lovely Regine recaps her reality TV. I don't want to call it trash because at one point I did watch reality TV. I've watched the first season of Love and Hip Hop,
Of
and
course.
I've
Classic.
watched everybody watched Survivor, everybody's watched Big Brother, everybody's watched Jersey Shore.
Mhm, classic.
I feel like I'm forgetting another
Real
big one.
World, the original
Real
reality
World. Was it College Hill?
College Hill.
College Hill. I feel like there was another one set in the Caribbean, or maybe that was one season of College Hill. I don't
Yeah, that was
remember.
Virgin Islands one.
Yes, everybody's seen reality TV, but my personal reality TV phase is like Gordon Ramsay stuff, like Kitchen Nightmares or whatever. That's my
Hey,
oh
get onto that Housewives, and that's Real.
I
Yeah.
can't do it. I can't
Real
do it.
Housewives of Atlanta is such a classic reality show. I did a rewatch early last year. I think I'm gonna do another one because it's so
I have
good.
a very
Talk about a storyline. Talk about a
I have
storyline.
a very interesting sort of like sociological take when it comes to like housewives content,
Okay.
which that's
I listen, again, to my point, I don't know if I said this before, but I actually stopped. I'm a sociologist, okay? So when I started, I was a biology major and then I switched after 3 years to being a sociology major. And once I switched, I immediately was like, this is playing into everything that's going on in our society. I cannot.
exactly.
I can't do I can't do it.
I'll give it's probably the same take you have.
Yeah,
But at some point it clicked in my head of like these housewife shows are the stories are basically almost all the same
of
in
course.
terms of here's this young woman who happens to run into this young man. He just happens to have money at a young age, ends up getting pregnant. He's like, fuck it, may as well marry her. Cheaper to keep her, as they say. They grow older. He continues to make money or whatever. They end up having more kids. But now that she's in her 40s or 50s, she's starting to realize for some of them, the money don't mean shit. I actually want
Wait
a
a year.
quality I actually want a quality relationship with my husband.
Yeah.
But can't happen because now I've set this materialistic standard of life. And so in order for him to fund that, he's working 16-hour days. But even when he's not at work, he don't really connect with me because low key, you don't really like me like that. But it is what it is because I liked all the bags, the trips, and all the materialistic shit when I was young. So now I spend time with my other housewives who also have the same issues. And because we have quote unquote nothing better to do, it's basically a game of like who dick is better between the housewives. Is like who could spend more money on shit, who has the better parties, who has the more expensive shit or whatever. And like backstabbing, and I'm
Who's the
talking
most
about
that's number 1. Who's the
right.
most
And then it's like, unfortunately, when these shows were starting to populate, this is like our generation, like in our late teens, early 20s. So they're
yeah,
looking at like these Kim Kardashians of the world or
yeah.
whoever as like, oh, I don't want the fly shit like them. But then they're failing to realize like the kids don't like them, the dog don't like them, the husband don't like them. You end up being miserable and unhappy, but because you have all this fancy shit, you think you're happy, but you're really not. This is why, some of them doing constant surgeries or they're fighting. It's like, I'm 38. I'd be damn if it's not for my life, why am I fighting somebody? And these are like grown ass some of them are actual
They
grandparents
be
are
like
out here
40 plus,
fighting
40
fighting on TV. And it's like, do you not have shame? And it's like, nope.
no, they don't because they're arrested development. But that's why we have Regine's reality check because I'm breaking it down for ya. I'm breaking it down for you. I'm giving advice, so goddamn take it because I'm trying to save the world.
Yes. With all that being said, y'all should still fucking tune in, even though I don't watch that shit. But Regine does great recaps dissecting the reality TV shows that are out. It's always going to be posted on social. And if you want to watch the whole entire episode, the whole episode is going to be on YouTube as well. So make sure y'all tap in. And maybe there's going to be more segments in the future for more niche sort of content. Who
Ah,
knows? Who knows? Who knows? So, in order for the show to keep growing and for you guys to be tapped in, like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe. That's all we ask. The more you interact with us, the more you leave comments, the more the show grows, the more it gets exposed on
yes.
different channels. So that's all we got. We'll be back next week and we'll catch y'all.
Peace.